Now we're going to take you through some of those frequently asked questions, FAQs on the COVID-19 vaccine. Let's first of all tell you that the vaccination here, many might ask if it is mandatory or it's your choice. Well, it is your choice. It is voluntary. That's the response that we've got from scientific experts as well. It's all up to you if you want to get vaccinated. But remember, if you do get vaccinated, you're keeping yourself and those around you safe. Now, is the vaccine developed in a short of time safe to use? Well, the answer is absolutely yes. It's got a nod from the regulatory body, and after extensive safety and efficacy studies, finally the Drugs Controller General of India has given an approval. So it is safe. Now, should COVID recovered people also be vaccinated? Experts and scientists say that the jabs will ensure stronger immunity to those even if you have gotten infected one round. Now, can an infected person be vaccinated? Now, of course, that question also answered by those experts saying that you've got to avoid getting vaccinated just in that 14-day window. After that, you could get vaccinated. And it is good for those who've already been infected one round with coronavirus. You can get the shot irrespective. Does India have the capacity to store these vaccines? Now, India indeed does have a robust supply chain and logistical chain, but with the temperatures that these vaccines need, it appears that India, through its dry run so far over the last few days, they're ensuring that logistics is ramped up to quite an extent. A dry run has been successful, and we do know that the robust systems are already worked upon across the length and breadth of the country. Now, it has been strengthened immensely to ensure the vaccination process is seamless. Now, the sixth question here is, will vaccine in India be safe and effective? Yes, most definitely it is safe and effective if taken into account all the studies and all the trials that's been carried out over thousands of volunteers. The study of those volunteers in the survey tells that both these vaccines, Covishield and Covaxin, are absolutely safe. How to know eligibility for the vaccination? Now, the only way you would know is to register your number. There is a CoWIN app, but details on that is still hazy. The government says that right now it is the government's duty to ensure that they reach out to the high-risk groups. But a regular person might get vaccinated only a little later after the frontline and high-risk groups are vaccinated the first round, and data of that is already being collected at various centers. Information on that will be clear in due course of time, but do remember, it's your registered phone number with which you will be tracked. What doctors have, in fact, particularly said that if you do want to get yourself enrolled, then you need to carry your documents. When you say documents, your ID card, any government-approved ID card, your bank ID, your passbook, your passport, your Aadhaar, any of that would do to get your vaccine shot, if the identification is what matters there. How will you get to know on the vaccine schedule? Of course, after registration, you will get an SMS or a code based on the certificate, and a QR code might come to you through that message, and you will be given more information if your number is registered. Now, then vaccine doses at what intervals? A big question on how many doses you need to take and between what interval. Two doses is what Covishield and Covaxin says specifically, that you need to take two doses in about 28 days interval. But Serum Institute CEO says that it is most effective if you take the first dose and the second dose in a gap of 2.5 to 3 months. Now, then you have a question about when would antibodies develop after you take the vaccine. Well, it's likely after 2 weeks post the second dose that you will develop antibodies. In fact, again, reports and experts suggest that the first dose itself, there's a good amount of antibody buildup, but with the second dose, you are stronger and more immune. Now, what precautions should you take at the vaccination site? Of course, that question would remain. Take COVID protocols that are in place, observe them, and take a 30-minute rest and just be calm. Monitor yourself, and the only possible side effect would be a mild fever right on that day and a slight swelling around the arm where the jab is, where you get the jab. And apart from that, there has been no adverse effects reported. Now, right after a day after Covishield and Covaxin get approval for emergency use in India, India Today accessed the crucial details of the two vaccines. India Today has accessed their government license, which reveals that Serum Institute Covishield to be administered from, in fact, those only above the age of 18 can be administered Covishield vaccine, while Bharat Biotech's Covaxin will be administered or can be given to those above 12 years. Bharat Biotech also presented the case that in their phase 2 trials, the vaccine was tried on 380 adults and children. It was well tolerated among them. The life of both the vaccines will be around 6 months if they are stored at 2 to 8 degrees temperature.
Well, it was a surprise because we thought that all companies have to conclude their efficacy studies. But if the government has decided in an emergency to license something which is safe, that's entirely their decision. I don't know what word to use, but that's something you have to ask them.
AIIMS director also vouched for Serum's Covishield to be used first. He said that Bharat Biotech will have to continue with their trial.
So the approval clearly says that only for an emergency situation, keeping in mind the circulating variant strain. And at the same time, they have to continue to do the trial and get the data in. So I think in the beginning, it will be basically Serum Institute of India, the AstraZeneca vaccine, which will be given.
Meanwhile, Indian Council of Medical Research, which is co-developing Covaxin, said that Bharat Biotech shot is best suited to counter the highly contagious UK strain.
Scientifically speaking, the Bharat Biotech vaccine being a whole virus vaccine, covering the entire surface of the virus, working on all the proteins of the virus, may potentially be more effective as we speak.
ICMR chief said vaccine can be made to change after phase 3 trial data in 3 to 4 weeks.
Approval has been given for clinical under clinical mode, which means that these patients who will be given this vaccines will be closely monitored, and the regulator will look at the data more closely for both for this vaccine as well as for the other vaccine, but it will be monitored very, very closely, and a rolling review will continue to happen.
Vaccinologist who oversaw the Covishield vaccine said that more and more vaccines need to come.
Look, we are delighted that more vaccines that are approved for dealing with COVID as soon as possible, the better for India, the better for the world. And of course, regulators have this very much in mind when they're looking at the safety and efficacy data of new vaccines.
With India getting approval for 2 back-to-back vaccines, we now have to wait to see if Covaxin can be fully ready for the mass vaccination drive. Bureau Report, India Today.
Hello everyone, this is Rahul Kamal here. Hope you enjoyed this video. For the latest news and analysis, like and subscribe the India Today YouTube channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated.